Oh, shit!
Outside a new era, the court right there. That was the only rim. That was the only rim. I'm telling you, listen. We went through the whole. We went through the whole. As far as in Baltimore City, we went through the whole city. That was the only. It was only two places that had rims. Cherry Hill. But when I ain't on them, I ain't even.
Just let us know how you got started in the sports.
I probably the most simplest answer would probably have to be it was like a family thing. You know, like every little kid, you know they let me you know like you follow the NBA and things like that. You know, like the Michael Jordans and things like that. But you know, at 6, 7 years old, you know, it was more so like the people you be around that play the most. So it was like my father. I think he probably was like in his late 30s at the time, his early 30s at the time. Mm-hmm. So he still was like, he still was like, probably kind of at his peak a little bit. And then like one of my like older cousins played, and then it was just like a neighborhood thing, like especially back in, I'm 36, so back in the early 90s, mm-hmm. almost every kid wanted to like, it was either like football or basketball, like where it came from, most likely, and everybody in my family played basketball, so. That's how I got introduced, and then I just started loving it like after that.
So we're gonna jump straight to high school. You went to Parkville.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any reason that you went to Parkville? Like, is that just because that was your area? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, like in the middle of like my middle school career, basically. My mother had moved. She got married, so we moved from Beaumont Avenue, and we moved out like in the Parkville area.
Gotcha.
I still went to Chicopee briefly,
mm-hmm.
but then, it was just like, easy for her. She worked in the morning, and then, my father being like, off and on drugs and in and out of jail and things like that, as far as the support system, as far as like to get me back and forth to school, because I wanted to go like, where I was from,
right,
or whatever, but unfortunately, I had to go there, and then I met like another group of like friends, and, it just went from there, you know what I mean? I wish I'd have. I'm proud of like my high school career. I'm the all-time leading scorer at my school.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I told you
big time, man.
You know what I mean? But no, but I'm proud of that though. But it wasn't back then. I graduated in 2003, so it wasn't really like how now it's like a basketball school now.
Yeah.
Like they actually into like doing something to get players and things like that. It wasn't like that then. It was just basically like whoever the best players at the school. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And just turned out I was good or whatever. But everybody else on my team, they didn't really play basketball. Like, I mean, Jermaine Dixon was there, but, he was in the 10th. Right. You know what I mean? So he was, like, young. It wasn't like not the Pittsburgh Jermaine Dixon, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And there was a kid named Kenny Perry. He was in the 10th grade. No, he was in 11th. So he was, like, he was good.
Right.
And then everybody else was just, like, average for just knowing how to play basketball. But we didn't really have a lot of hoopers at my school at the time.
Yeah, because I was watching not your interview, your live. You was with Jack and Will and all them, mm-hmm. and the first thing he said was, "Yo, you ain't get good till later." But
Jack,
he was talking crazy, but but being an all-time leading scorer at your school, man, that had to take time.
Yeah, and just to throw that out, because I don't really let nothing slide. I used to always bust Jack ass though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but back then, like, cause me and Jack played on Cecil together.
Okay, yeah.
Cause I did when I was 10, 11, 12, and 13. I played with Oliver.
Okay, yeah.
But then, because my father actually did take me down to Oliver.
Gotcha.
Because he played under Bucky Lee coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But then, Bucky Lee died.
Yeah.
So me and Coach Vines didn't really have that bond at that time. So my Uncle David introduced me to Melvin Barty.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he was down Cecil, so I went down Cecil. When I went down Cecil, I met Jack. But I met Jack because Jack's father and my father played like in a league together.
Yeah.
So we used to always like timeouts, me and him running the court, play one-on-one, shit like that. Like, I used to always kill Jack one-on-one. But Jack was the better player early. Jack was the shit. Jack was nice. Jack was nice real early. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that is a fact. Like I got way better as I got older. Like I started getting like really, really good. Like I think I was good 9th, 10th. Like it was like I always was like probably the best player on the team in high school. Like my JV team, I was the best player. So 10th grade, I was on varsity. So I think I probably was the best. Rodney, my friend Rodney Harrison was better than me at the time, 10th grade. I think 11th grade, I started to like be a little better. And then 12th grade, I was hands down the best player on my team. And then after high school, that's when I started getting like, I was like dunking crazy, moves. And I started getting like way, way better, like things like that.
Got you. So like post high school, that's when you kind of like started to develop all your skills and stuff, right?
I think it's just I started to get more exposure around the city.
Right.
So I was always like in the community face, basically. So I'm thankful for it. I wish I could have went and played D1. I wish I could have went overseas and things like that if certain things didn't happen. But I'm also thankful that I was able to be in the eyes of the city, like, like up front, like for so many years. And that's how, my name and then my recognition got to like where it is now.
So what was that process? Because like, I know, I'm a little later than you, but when I was coming out of school, a lot of the people that I played against, they were going to schools. So was it a tougher process to start going to those schools? Like what was the next step for you?
It's just, it's like, you got to look, like my high school career is like this. Like 9th grade, we had a coach. 10th grade, we had another coach. 11th grade, we had the tech teacher as the coach. 12th grade year, we had the gym teacher as the athletic director and the coach. You get what I'm saying? It was like, it wasn't really no basketball school. You get what I'm saying? Like,
right.
If this was right now and I did what I did my 12th grade year, I probably would have went D1.
Right.
Or I'd have had high level. I'd have had like some good D1s and like the highest of D2s. Like on me, I'd have guaranteed went overseas. You get what I'm saying?
Got you.
But it's just we just didn't really have that. Then there wasn't really no internet or nothing like that either.
Right. So when you back then, it wasn't. A lot of people weren't getting no exposure.
Oh, for sure. So at the time, right?
It was just like word of mouth, and that's why the journey after high school was just very tough for me. You know what I'm saying? Like people look at it like, oh, that's Terry. I know what the name is now.
Right.
Right. But then it was just like, bro, I had to do like, so let me see, 03. So let's say 04, right? My first year out of high school was 03, late 03. Mm-hmm. So let's say it was a good like 7, 8, 9 years I had to get like 30, 40, 50 in every game whenever I was on the scene.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? I had no room for error, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's already like, and a lot of people that I played with at Cecil and Oliver, like all of them like got killed or like they was like in jail.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like besides like Jack, even like Two, one of our like neighborhood legends, he stopped hooping like as we got older.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like you got Draper. Right. But Draper was gone. Like Draper was on like, the A team and Cecil, me and Jack was on the B team.
Gotcha.
So but like Draper, Two stopped hooping, right? Was in the streets. Draper was gone.
You
know what I'm saying? Yeah, Draper was gone. Jack, Calvin Hall, then he was gone. Sienna, then
Florida.
I mean, well,
Miami. I'm sorry, Miami.
The prep, then Sienna, and then Miami. You know what I'm saying? I don't even remember who else was on me and Jack team, but just everybody else was just like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, it was rough. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you know what I mean?
So
that's the path I had to take though.
So looking like Googling you and all this other stuff, the first thing that came up for me was semi-pro. Mm-hmm. Was that the next? After?
Yeah. So high school's over. Mm-hmm. I go to Essex Community College, okay. Right? My first year, I played with shout out to Ty Burns. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't give Ty Burns a lot of credit, but I played with Ty Burns. I was 17 years old, about to turn 18, in Essex Community, and Ty was averaging 37 on the team. I was averaging 20. He was averaging 37.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? We used to, we didn't even practice. Like, man, this is a true story. Me and Ty didn't even practice unless we were just playing 5-on-5. Like, we did no drills. Me and Ty was on the other side of the court. We played one-on-one every single day. Me and Ty probably played
That's crazy.
One-on-one probably 12 times a day. Mm-hmm. And we don't leave until it's even.
Right.
So we'll play 12 games. If it ain't 6-6, we going to go until, like, if it's 5-6, we got to go again. And then if he win and it's 6-6, then we'll stop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if he try to stop and I'm down one, nah.
We got to keep
that's that bullshit. Like, we didn't like fought and all that shit. Like,
right.
Nigga tried to stop and all that. We fought in the locker room, all that. Like, you know what I mean? So, After that, then the next year what it was going to be, because Ty was gone. So my next year was probably going to be like my breakout year. But then one of my homeboys got to fighting one of the teacher assistants in the gym, and he was losing, and I jumped in it, so I got put out. You know what I'm saying? I got put out, and then right after that, my mother passed away. Right. So my mother passed away April 2005, and then I kind of I was like, and that was in all those years, like elementary, middle school, high school, even the BNBL Project Survival AU, all that process, that was my biggest supporter. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So when she was gone, it was kind of like, now she left me, insurance money. So now, I want to sell weed. Now I start my other hobby, I was rapping. Right. So then I started rapping more because it was more pain on me. So it was better for me just to talk about my pain through music instead of just getting it out through hooping. You know what I mean? She can't come to no more games. So it fucked me up for a while. I still battle with it today, but I'm saying I deal with it better that I'm a father now and all of that. But I mean, yeah, so it's just, I ain't really want to hoop like that no more. So then my daughter was born, March 22nd, 2006. So then after that, I kind of started getting back into it. So then it was more so me trying to figure somebody out could try to get me back in school, try to go to school, whatever. Right. And then the shit just ain't work out. So then I started playing. The semi-protein started coming around, it was the EBA, then it was the APBL, when I played with the Shuckers. See, when I played with the Shuckers, right, that was around the time where I played in the most leagues in town, like the Lansdowne League, the St. Francis League. The boy Derek used to have the league, St. Francis League, and that's when it started. Boom, and then I go out with the Shuckers. It was I was getting 40s and 50s and everything like that, and it was damn, but that's far out. So we out 7 Maryland, so a lot of people ain't really, because I had a little fan base, but you know what I mean, nigga, we ain't driving all the way out there. You know what I mean? I might get 10, 15 people come out there. Then right after that, I think that was I started trying to expand more. I started getting more but I'm more known now in the DMV area because that league with the Shuckers, they got teams from Jersey, they got teams from Philly, you know what I'm saying? So I'm starting to meet all these people, they starting to see me and getting my respect. But it ain't all the way respected with the city just yet. It's still boy, when we was in high school, we was this, it was I was kind of getting a little bit of hate because I was still good when niggas was just not, the other niggas that was my age wasn't hooping no more at all. Right. But I was just kind of getting started. Yeah. 23, 24, I was just still elevating, right? So then I got an agent for the first time. Daniel Hassan was my agent, right? You remember the agent Kill had before. So that was my agent, so I got an agent, right? He sent me out to the Atlanta D-League trial, right? So I go out there. I played great the first day. I make it to the second day, but the last game of that day, I sprung my ankle. So I made it to the second day, but I sprung my ankle. I still played the next day, but I just couldn't really move the same. I was, like I said, I was doing fast breaks. I was bouncing and windmilling and shit. And I was one of the smaller guys on the court. Right. So that hit different when you dunk and it's just more attention. Right, for sure. The crazy moves and all that shit. But I just couldn't really move like that with my ankle. So I didn't go further. So about 3 months later, I go to the New York Knicks D-League team trial. Right. And then this is what probably never would have been no free smoke or nothing because this was almost killed my basketball dream forever. Right. I go out there, they split us up into teams. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 games. So one game and this game going on at the same time, and then the next 2 games at the same time. Right. So the kid that they was really there to see was a 7-footer, right? 7-foot guy. He was on the team I was playing against. So all the agents, the coaches, they was on this side watching this game, right? So we played this 4 game, and I had 46 points and 11 assists. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about I caught a dunk off the miss. I didn't, my shit on the fast break was the bounce windmill. I did all that. I'm talking about, if you ever see me play on one of my good days, it was this is probably the best game I ever played in my life. I might have had 3 turnovers. Nigga, I was gone. I actually played real defense that day and all that shit. I'm talking about it was my best game ever.
Because he really don't play defense. I tell him all the time.
I play it when I feel like it, but I'm talking about I really play defense this day. Right. So when it's over, they put everybody at half court. They say, if I call your name, you go over there. You made it to the next day. They ain't call my name. Whoa. So the players and their parents and shit was you hear everybody, you can hear the chatter wow. Damn, that's great. That's fucked up. You just hear everything. Right. So my agent, he zaps out. He got arrested. Like he's act out. Yeah, he got arrested. And I was stuck in New York. Like, but they let him go from the precinct. But
That's crazy.
I was stuck because I really was up there with him. I ain't no money, nothing. I was struggling and all that, right? So in the hallway, Allen Houston, right? They used to play with the Knicks. He was the general manager.
That's tough.
He said it came down to you and the guy you was going against, right? You know, his father was like a big sponsor to the organization, yada, yada, yada. So I was like, that's fucked up. I say, but why the fuck did it have to come down to me and him?
Right.
You know what I mean? I was better than all these niggas. I'm like, even a 7-footer, but I get it. He's 7 foot. He can block shots.
Right, you can't
he catch
touch that.
hoops, and he mobile. So I get it. But I'm like, nigga, nobody else here should get picked before me.
At all.
Really, not even him, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because the nigga that was their starting point guard was there. Even he was like, nigga, he was like, I was just waiting to try you in practice. I just knew it was on.
Right.
And that shit, like, I went out, so I cried. I was fucked up. I was like, man, I was like, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna do my movie shit, my comedy shit that I was doing. That's all I'm gonna do. And then, you know, probably like a year later, Patty Gregory Brown called me.
Let's dial it back just a little bit. Mm-hmm. First time I ever seen you play, right? Like I said, you older than me. The first time I seen you play was the 1-on-1 with Richard, right?
Yeah.
Was that was in that time?
That was right before. That was right before the Shuckers.
Okay, so that's the first time I remember, and you beat them 11-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beat them
5,000. You know what I mean? Just to let niggas know, I've been doing that shit for 5,000. You know what I mean? Whatever.
So that's the first time I even knew who you were because it was like that. It was you killed him. You know what I'm saying? And I know Richard. He grew up around my grandfather with.
Yeah, that's one of my close friends though. Like, and I feel like a lot of niggas like. I don't know about now. I'm saying when he was hooping, I feel like a lot of niggas can't beat Richard.
Right. Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? And that's always like, of course I'm gonna talk my shit. I did beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I always used to tell niggas like, bro, like, I was going into that game saying I was gonna win like 11-6.
Okay.
Right? Because Richard can really hoop, especially back then. He really can hoop. You get what I'm saying? It's just like the one-on-one thing. It's like it's not just talent. You know what I'm saying? It's mental. Yeah. It's everything. And I know he just ain't have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I be trying to explain niggas like, really, all y'all niggas going overseas and NBA and going away from school. That's all I had, was just hood shit. So one-on-one, that's like I had no choice, but I gotta perfect this shit.
Okay.
I'm gonna be like, shout out to J.Y. He always told me, so if you gonna be semi-pro, perfect it to be the best semi-pro nigga ever. So when niggas think of semi-pro, they say nobody did that shit like, you know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. But go ahead, back to what you saying.
All right, no, I just wanted to let you know that was the first time I heard of you. But you was about to talk about the Hawks, right?
Right.
So go ahead. Talk
so
about
the Hawks, right? Even though I played with the DMV Warriors like the last like 5 or 6 years, but when the ABA came about in Baltimore, it was the Hawks.
Right.
I never even met Petey before he called me because I knew him as Greg at first.
Yeah, right.
He called me, and you know he was talking. Mind you, my mindset is like, bro, I'm not even hooping no more, bro. Like I'm a hoop like with my friends on some open gym shit, but I'm not even diving into nothing serious anymore. I wasn't even going because I just would have went back and played with the Shuckers. I'm like, yo, I'm not. I said, bro, I had my opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I used to always sit back and be like, bro, y'all niggas get these opportunities. Y'all don't even just. Because I always say, yo, you get the opportunity and you get on you get the D lead or summer league, go Hawk.
Right.
Show niggas what you really. I used to tell Josh that. I used to be like, yo, when you in Memphis and you come off the bench, just show niggas what you really can do.
Right.
You ain't really no pass first point guard, nigga. You
Never
get buckets.
Never been.
You know what I mean? Even if they cut you, somebody's seen it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So anyway, I felt like that was my opportunity. I felt like I got robbed. So it just like emotionally it was fucked up. Then, but the mother thing started coming back in my head. It's just like I'm fucked up mentally for real. So lost my job and no, I ain't lose my job yet. I just got a job after that. I just got the job.
Right.
So then the Hawks thing come about. The Hawks, I only played one. The first year the Hawks came, I played the first year with the Hawks. The Hawks is what really got me my respect in the city.
So you don't even remember. You know you played us.
Who y'all play with?
Dundalk.
Dundalk?
Yeah.
CCBC.
With the Hawks.
You was playing with the Hawks. We was playing at Dundalk. And I didn't know
what you mean y'all playing at Dundalk?
CCBC, Jerome.
Dundalk,
Coach
yeah.
Jerome Taylor and Ruck.
We played y'all?
Yeah, y'all scrimmages.
Scrimmage y'all.
Oh, okay.
And I remember saying,
where was we at?
We was up Dundalk.
Up Dundalk, okay.
We was
I
killing
remember.
our point guard. I was like, yo, who is bro to keep head faking everybody, bro? I'm pretty sure we won. I'm pretty sure we won. But you probably had like 30 or something like that. And that was my first time seeing you. And then I started seeing you down leadership and all of that. But yeah, you was killing our guy for real.
I appreciate that, man. I really can't even remember it, yo. I do remember us having a scrimmage, but I really can't remember that shit, y'all swear.
Yeah, because you know Taylor cool with that was like either his first or second year. Oh, first year.
First year.
So he was cool. You know, he's cool around the city. You know what I'm saying? So I think he scheduled that for y'all to be an exhibition game for us. You know what I'm saying? And it just worked out where it was a good game.
Oh, you saying Jerron?
Yeah,
you said Taylor. Okay.
Yeah, my fault. Yeah,
no, I know that's cool.
But so you say you only played for them 1 year?
Yeah, the first year.
So how you do that year and then?
I averaged 39 and 7. Yeah, like I went crazy that year with Harper. I'm just saying, like it was so like the home games, they was like so lit. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like now it's like, now I'm not playing with the Shuckers all the way out there. Now I'm playing right over east, so you have no reason not to show up. So everybody was showing up, and then it was just 50, 40, 35, 40, 45, 50, whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then like we had a lot of close games, so like that make the fans like enjoy the games more. You know what I'm saying? Like we had a lot of close games that we came back and won. You know what I'm saying? We was like 20-3 that year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We won the division championship. We lost in the Final Four in Providence. You know what I'm saying? Just a misunderstanding me and Petey had about like the money and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then long story short, I left the team. Right. And then I started playing with the DMV Warriors. Okay. And then I've been playing with them. But see, at that point, I feel like I had all my respect. So even though their home games was out Woodlawn, niggas was coming out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I mean, just watching you from social media, you always been productive on those teams, Mm-hmm. And I mean, y'all teams be loaded. Mm-hmm. Just from the names, names alone, you know what I'm saying? But you've been playing for them, you said 5-6 years, right?
Yeah. I played with the Hawks 2015. Yeah. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
And then, at the past year, y'all end up winning the whole thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The second year I played with the Warriors. The first year we lost in the Final Four. Mm-hmm. We was in Texas, Laredo, Texas. We lost in the Final Four to Jacksonville. We lost to them in the Final Four. We lost by 3 in overtime. That was like a bad game. I had a motherfucking abscess in my tooth. I had a temporary feeling. That bitch got knocked out in the middle of the game.
Crazy.
All that shit. Yeah, but we lost that year. Then the next year we came back. We went 25-0. We was number one in the nation. And then lost in the Final Four. Again. To Chicago now. Mm-hmm. We'd have beat Jacksonville the first year. Yeah. We'd have played Chicago in the chip. Right. This time we'd have beat Chicago. We'd have played Jacksonville in the chip. Yeah. But we beat Jacksonville twice that year, though. Mm-hmm. Regular. We beat them home and we beat them in Jacksonville.
Right.
And they was real good too.
They was
one of the best teams in the ABA usually.
Yeah. That was like one of the biggest games. That was like one of the biggest games that I've been a part of because they had like 12,000 people. They got like a real arena that they play in, like a real arena. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I even did like a little video of me like walking through the tunnel and shit. And I put remember the old NBA on NBC music, like like that shit. I put that on the video. Yeah, but it was packed in that bitch. You know what I'm saying? We like went up 20. It came all the way back. We went up 20 again. They came over here and they beat them by like 5. But that shit was lit. You know what I'm saying? And we beat them twice that year. And we just knew we was going to beat them in the chip. Right. And we was up 12 points on Chicago with 2 minutes left, and we lost in overtime.
Yeah. I mean, that Jones serious though, because we had Fresh on our show, and that's one thing he missed. He's like, yo, I ain't never really had no championships, even though the game and the numbers was good. Yeah. I never had no championships. He's like, I want to win semi-pro just to say I had a championship. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I actually thought they was going to win this year if we didn't win this year, but we lost. I ain't played, but we lost. And Fresh and them lost too.
Yeah, I know. So, boom, Final Four. Tell me how crazy it is to win the championship. Like in that manner, because at some point you start thinking like, dang, Baltimore Hawks ain't win one. I know y'all was, a lot of people was on DMV Warriors. Like you just thinking like something for the city gotta happen. You know what I'm saying?
And I really felt like we should have had 3. Right. You know what I mean? If the first year, okay, cool, but the undefeated year, definitely. Right. And then the actual year we won it. But I mean, for me, it just felt like I was a national champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, just, I had my own world. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, and it shit you really used to bother me, like the no overseas thing. But now I just look at it like, look, bro, a lot of you niggas played overseas, but y'all here playing in this too. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. So, you know what I mean? Like, don't, and I got a beef with, like, not beef, but I used to argue with a lot of people that my age that had their opinion. They be like, yeah, yo, you getting 40s and 50s with the Shuckers or 40s and 50s with the Hawks. I was like, bro, you don't even get 40s and 50s in Lansdowne or whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like, and these are the same people. So I'm like, I'm like, bro, but every time I pop out at Lansdowne, I get 40.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the last time I played Lansdowne, I had 75. You know what I'm saying? Like, like for real, last time I actually played Lansdowne, I had 75. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like I'm like, yo, for like 10 years, I cooked every league. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Then, what was next after like the DMV thing? It was something else that like the Brunson elevated me a little bit more. You get what I'm saying?
I was about to get into that like
yeah. No. Let's talk about that first.
All right, go ahead.
Because around the Hawks time, it was a tournament we always went to every year in Ocean City.
Oh
right?
yeah, because I know my coach played in it.
The Ocean City tournament used to be like a $20,000 shit, but then now it's just like hella big ass trophy. But you know, it's just a known thing, especially like East Coast wise, right? Like New York, Jersey, Philly, Virginia, pretty much Baltimore. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know the area, right? So we played against the DC dudes, White Chocolate, Boo Jackson, and all of them.
Tough name.
What's my man name that had the handles? He's older now. D Nice. Is it D Nice?
Yeah,
D Nice. Right? They all from out DC area, right? We played them. We was undefeated. The double elimination tournament, when you undefeated, the team got to beat you twice. Them niggas beat us twice. You get what I'm saying?
Dang.
They beat us twice. They beat us once. I missed a 3 at the buzzer. We went to overtime and lost. And then they beat us in overtime the second game.
Right.
I had 40 both games, though.
Gotcha.
So then Drew, from the Drew All-Stars, he invited me to come to play in Barry Farms.
Gotcha.
And that was like one of my dreams to play out there when Gerald, God rest his soul, played out there and he like went against KD and all that shit. I was like, I got to get out here. You know what I'm saying? But I waited patiently until it was my time. And then when I went, like my first game, I played against Trey Kelly. I played against Trey Kelly. And Josh was on Trey Kelly and them team.
For real?
Yeah, we beat them like 77, 75. I hit the game winner. But I had like 35. You get what I'm saying? Miles started calling me New Jack City. You feel me? That's how I got the name.
No. First he started.
Oh, he started calling me Pookie. He was calling me Pookie. He was calling me Pookie. He was calling me Pookie, and then he just changed it to like New Jack City. So that became my name.
You had to call that one out, right?
That's when I met him. Like,
okay. Yeah, so then it was that. That's like where my DC PG like I don't say fans, supporters, support base came from, and then the Hawks, the DMV Warriors. So then now it's just like the Brunson. So now it's just like now I can come in there and I might can go 0 for 20 one day and they be like, yeah, Terry was off like shit today. It don't really mean nothing.
Right.
But 6 years ago, at that time, 5 years ago, it'd have been like,
you trash.
Man, that nigga trash. I told y'all that nigga wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't do that then.
Right.
So
you had that pressure, right?
Yeah.
But you lived up to the pressure too.
Yeah, I had to earn my name. You know what I'm saying? Like it been a lot of games, a lot of leagues for niggas to finally be like, okay, Terry the shit. We cool with it. Terry the shit. Okay, that shit out there with the shit with the Hawk. Okay, it's real. All right, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That.
I mean, I played against you at the Brunson a couple times, right?
Who you play with?
I was with L&D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. But I remember walking in right before my game one time, and you had a little shootout with Will.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? He gave you a little bucket, but then you came down and you gave him like...
Oh, this is at BCC?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You spent off of him and gave him this tough bucket. Whole gym went crazy.
Shout out to Will, though. You know what I'm saying? I got him the whole game. He only had 19. Yeah. Love you, though, cuz, but yeah, man, that's the facts, though. He only had 19.
But
we lost by like 14.
Yeah, I mean
14.
We lost by 14. We was down 20 at one point. We lost by like 14. Yeah,
I mean that's.
But
that's what they like for those 2 years though. They ran the.
Yeah.
They ran the Brunson.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? No Ricky showed up, no JY showed up.
Right,
Rudy wasn't there. You know what I mean? That's what it was supposed to be.
That's really what it was.
That game was supposed to have been about Will and Rudy.
Yeah.
Because Rudy's supposed to be on my team, but Rudy, they went to Africa for the Olympics thing.
Right.
The NBA thing, whatever. They went to Africa. So, and then JY and Ricky didn't show up either. So it was like.
Gotcha. I mean,
it was tough.
just hearing about, just watching you over those years, because like I said, like, the biggest thing was like, what was he doing up until, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to see like how you emerged and you stuck with it and you just came back from winning, I always applauded that, you know what I'm saying? I always thought like, dang, like, it don't even, like, I think you taught people, like, it don't even matter, like, when something happens, go ahead and do that. You feel me? It don't matter, like, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, just go ahead and do what you need to do.
Yeah, try to be the best nigga at where you at. For sure.
But I also want to dial deep into, your comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because, when I started watching your comedy, I ain't gonna lie, bro, I thought you was a fool with it. You know what I'm saying? And you just hinted on Gerald, right? Let's talk about what Gerald meant to you and how y'all even got started even doing the comedy stuff.
Yeah, see, I mean, you know, amongst like my family and my friends growing up, I always been like, you know, like the crazy funny one out the group. You know what I'm saying? Like they always thought I was funny. So, you know, Gerald was like more known as far as in the city as being funny. You get what I'm saying? And it was kind of like Gerald used to like just like demolish people like on the ground. Like, well, this was at Facebook at this time. Right. Like I knew Gerald, like, you know, I knew him like he hoop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it was more so like he really was the shit already. He had the high school career, the college, the overseas, you know what I mean? And he was funny, so he was like, well, like more popular. Right. Even when he died, he was still probably
for sure.
more popular than me in Baltimore. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so we had this little thing where we like crack jokes on each other. You get what I'm saying? On Facebook, right? You know what I'm saying? He a tough check. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? He a tough check because he had a lot of time. At this time, I was working in Northwest Hospital, right? So I go to work from 6 to 2:30.
Right.
So by the time I get off at 2:30, he got like 12 videos up about me already, right? So and then it's still like 8 more coming like at nighttime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Pause. I had to. I'm sorry. But so then so you know but then you know you got some people that like be like yo, he went at you a little bit. Like, he got me. It was just too much. So I bowed out. I said, yo, I can't fuck with you. Right. You got too much time. And then he got the whole white lie making videos about me and all that, right? So then he said something about me. He's like, yeah, then, you know, the big nose nigga with Gerald, yada, right? He said something like like a funny ass joke about my nose. And I told him, like, he looked like he, what the fuck I said? Like he brushed his teeth with a paintbrush or some shit like that I said, right? So everybody was going crazy over the 2 jokes or whatever. And then we ended up on a phone call, like me, Gerald, Cleon, Q, Diddy, Laurel, Barry, Lil Nate, that rat. It was like 15 of us on the phone call. Like everybody kept calling each other. And then he like, yo, Gerald, who the nigga that was cracking with you? Oh, he funny as shit. And I was like, yo, that was me, blah, blah, blah. He was like, yo, man, I do this comedy, you know, night over at a mall.
Okay.
It's next door to the City of Gods. It's like a Mexican restaurant now. They had like happy hour, but it was called a mall at the time. Mm-hmm. And he was like, y'all do Wednesday nights up there, yo, come do that. I was like, all right, I'm gonna fuck with it, right? And you know, basketball and movies / like comedy always been my thing. Like since a kid, that's been my plan was to either go to the NBA or go overseas and then start my own movie company to do my thing with that, right? So I went, you know, like I wrote some shit, you know what I mean? I ain't forget it because I had a good memory because of like rap. I had to remember like, you know, lines, so I always had a good memory. So I just went. And I did my first time I ever did stand up, and I set that bitch on fire. So then I did like 13 weeks straight. You get what I'm saying? And then it was like, we did a real big show at University of Baltimore. You know what I mean? And then, you know, me and Cleon had like a falling out. You know what I mean? So I started doing my own thing. I did this shit called Comedian Housewives. It's like something I wrote. And it was about like a guy and his cousin, they was comedians. I was like a big time comedian, but then I like fell off. And my cousin that lived with me, he was this was what Bilal played him. He was a young comedian up and coming. Okay. And both our girlfriends like lived with us and shit like that. But then I created a character that was my twin sister named Teresa. So that's like I did the whole wig thing and all that shit. And then like the funny thing is like people like they love that shit. Like it was just like they start asking me like yo, we want to get Teresa at the club. I'm like, yo, hold up, nigga. You know what I mean? I'm like, hold up. So they like, yo, you don't think it'd be chills if you just put it like in the show. So the swag school had this, that's, you know, Rebo, Dad, Vic, and JT. They had this happy hour at Envy, Club Envy. It's Annex now. Right. You know, is that Annex? The one on Merlin Avenue?
Yeah, it's Annex.
Yeah, Annex. So it was Envy. So like Thursday nights was like the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you remember in the Mackie song when I said Envy on Thursday, that was the shit. Right? So one day, I put it like in the actual show. I did the show Comedian Housewives every week. Right. So I put that as a part of the show. Like Teresa went out to the club basically. So I was in there as Teresa, and then like I got into a fight with a nigga. Like I'm talking about like while I'm dressed as Teresa. Like I'm serious. I had to kick the heels off and shit. Like we was in that bitch fighting and shit. That shit was wild. So that shit started to bother me. Like motherfucker used to say shit like, man, this nigga gay or like shit like that. And I used to be like, nigga, like y'all know me. Like y'all know I ain't gay. You know what I mean? Not saying nothing against gay people, but I'm saying like, nigga, y'all know I ain't gay. But it's like, I don't know, shit was just wild. You know what I'm saying? So, but the people really like, but the girls, like, Yo, me and Gerald and Cleon at the time, like our woman fan base supporters, like they loved every fucking thing, but they loved that Teresa shit. I'm talking about like, yo, they loved. When I say they loved, I'm talking about they loved. Like, and if my wife see this, sorry to go back to this, but I'm talking about like women was even like trying to sleep with me just off the simple fact that they just love Teresa. You get what I'm saying? Like, nigga, fuck me, they forgot about me. Right. You know what I mean? Like they loved it. So then at the Community Housewives, I did like an actual show. It was just the Teresa show. It was called Adore. It was called A Definition of Ratchet. Yeah. And I just had Teresa in there doing some wild shit. Like she went, her and the girl, my homegirl actually played my best friend. I went and did like we like hustled. We was trying to get some money for like, we were trying to get some money to go shopping. So we went and hustled some niggas on the basketball court. So we like played 2-on-2. So you know I really was like hooping for real. Right. In the Teresa shit, I was like dunking all kind of crazy shit. So we got the money. We did like a fake game, like a Price is Right, but it was called like Are You Ratchet show or some shit like that. It was like we did a whole bunch about it. They loved that shit. But then it just started getting wild, like the comments and just like shit started getting wild from niggas. And then I was like, I ain't gonna keep being out here filming and fighting niggas dressed up as Teresa. You know what I'm saying? So I stopped it, and then. You know,
so all the ladies love it, bro. That's probably why niggas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean. Like, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of niggas, you know, like their chicks was getting, you know what I mean, whatever. But yeah, yeah. So you know, like, but that was just like, yo, that was like one of the funnest times in my life.
Wonder.